Hi, this is Borris Bazelais, visionary founder of Wonder, your gateway to the future of blockchain gaming. You tuned in to the Edge of NFT, your gateway to being in the know of the future of interactive entertainment. Keep listening.
Hey, Web3 curious listeners, stay tuned for today's episode to learn blockchain gaming's billion-dollar boom, what wild innovations are about to explode onto your screens.
And Wander's big adventures. What are the jaw-dropping epiphanies and milestones for this company over the last 6 months?
And finally, peek behind the curtain, what the most recent purchase of today's guest is loud and fast, just like him.
All this and more at the Edge of Wander. Cue the intro.
Welcome to the Edge of NFT, the podcast that brings you the top 1% of Web3 today and what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts of the business side and also the human element of how Web3 is changing the way we interact with the things we love. This podcast is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers who are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Welcome to the Edge of NFT, the podcast created by Jeff Kelly, Ethan Jenny, and Josh Krieger, featuring a variety of top-notch guests and other hosts like myself, Richard Carthon.
It's another production of Edge of Company, a quickly growing media ecosystem empowering the pioneers of Web3 tech and culture, and responsible for other groundbreaking endeavors like the Outer Edge Innovation Festival in LA and Riyadh.
Today's episode is sponsored as part of a media partnership and features Borris Bazelais, the visionary founder of Wonder, started disrupting traditional models in 2009 with viral game Wall Street Massacre, Murder Madoff. And now with a career spanning technology, gaming, music, fashion, and television, he leverages 3D web technology at Wonder to deliver AAA quality immersive gaming experiences directly through your browser, accessible from any device, anywhere.
Wander is revolutionizing gaming with its groundbreaking streaming technology, making high-quality console-level games instantly accessible in your browser without downloads, transforming any device, phone, computer, or smart TV into a portal for exceptional gaming adventures and seamless social entertainment ecosystem, bridging the gap between the 200 million gamers and 5 billion internet users, and ensuring that everyone plays by creatively captivating universes and characters. Welcome, Boris. Great to have you on Edge of NFT.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and great to see you guys again.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to have you at our first Outer Edge Riyadh. And to have you be a part of that, be able to present on stage and just be part of this amazing transition of Web3 entering over into Web3 being embraced over in Riyadh was really special. So we definitely appreciate Wonder being over there with us.
No, of course, it was really a remarkable experience. Riyadh is totally a different animal. You guys did such a great job, amazing people, top level Web3 people, man. And, it was very rich. So thank you again for hosting that. And brought a lot of value to us. And we're still raking it in as we speak. Thank
Well,
you.
we definitely love to hear that. And I know you've been busy. I know you've been going to all kinds of conferences. And one of the most recent one that you just came from was ECC in Brussels. Just curious, like what kind of unexpected innovations or discussions that you have while at that conference? And what do you think is going to disrupt gaming industry the most in, let's say, the next 5 years?
Sure, of course. I think I'm seeing a lot of people that are working in gaming or focused, in working in Unreal Engine, even browser-based experiences. I've spoken to quite a few artists. I mean, we were at the Solana party there, and it was truly amazing that what these guys were doing. And it was like, live art, live tech right in front of your face. And they were using AI, transforming people in real life, right on the screen. And I just think people are truly innovative at this point. They're seeing Web3 in gaming, not just in the virtual world, but in the real world. I have met a lot of people that are really focused on browser-based type of experiences, which I think is really what's going to lead, Web3 to, for everybody to actually consume these type of games. So I'm excited about it. I think the onboarding process, people are really on the same page as we are. They understand, creating wallets, making it simple for your everyday person, grandma approved type of experiences, that if your grandma could access your project, you're winning. And I think people are understanding that. So, with that type of tone, moving, towards the end of the year, I think things are really going to shift. And, I met a lot of people in gaming, man, a lot of these companies, and I just love their energy. And, we're talking the same game. So everyone's understanding what it takes really to, break these games out into the world.
That's cool. Really dig what you're saying. This weekend, I discovered, Netflix has live games you can play where you sort of scan a QR code and your phone becomes a controller. And there was only like 5 games available, but it was very, very clear. Like their video content, they were very intentional in terms of hitting a wide swath of different demographics from interest and ages. And I thought about it. I was like, this is what blockchain gaming should be all about.
You're absolutely right, and you nailed it, because we are also are using our virtual controller. We feel that the phone is really a central device, and if you could connect that to a smart TV or a PC or even another type of internet connected device, you could play easily. And that's the whole point, right? Making what's available and what everyone has to try to scale these type of experiences. So as I was saying earlier, people are actually seeing this. I saw this technology maybe 8 years ago in some advertising, and I said, wow, this is something we need to get on. And we've integrated it into our system. Today, we had an esports platform that we're partnering with test the game. He tested live, and as soon as he started using the virtual controller, he was like, wow, this is amazing. I've never experienced this before. It's instantaneous, and it's like magic, really, in a way. And when you experience it, it's like to be able to
I had that feeling. I haven't tried your virtual controller. I imagine it's very similar to the experience, or if not better. Give you the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, I was like, wow, my phone just developed a new superpower. It can shoot all these crazy like videos, and now I can play video games. And who needs more hardware, right? Who needs more clutter in their life? So I totally dig it. And you sort of alluded to this, but let's elaborate on the conversation around this recent investment in blockchain gaming. It hit $1 billion in April. I think that's referring to this year, because it's been billions of dollars in investment thus far. What's one revolutionary concept you anticipate will dominate over the next decade? Where do you see all this going?
I mean, I think for me, the way that I look at it is premium quality games for everyone, right? And when I say that, like, I used to watch my friends, play on their Xbox and PlayStation. I started with Nintendo way back in the day, but, seeing that kind of quality, and to me, I think being able to get that quality on any device instantly is really the key. I mean, you're dealing with Unreal Engine, you're dealing with GPUs powering, the visuals, and those same GPUs are used for AI. The combination of these two, when you're able to play a game and have the camera capture your emotions, figure out a little bit more about you and as a player, I think is quite amazing. I mean, so, with that said, I think this is why browser-based gaming for me is key. And the delivery of that, a lot of people in gaming, and I think in Web3 gaming, they definitely talk about AAA type games. And I see a lot of them, retargeting the hardcore gamers, right? So, for me, I always do tests. And a few years ago, I wrote a Medium article, Xbox and PlayStation will go extinct. And it was about cloud gaming. And instantaneously, within seconds, we're getting so much hate from hardcore gamers. And I realized that this was not for them, because they love their hardware. They love their PlayStation. They love their PCs. I got one. That's what I'm talking to you guys with right now. It's beautiful. But at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people never had the experience of, truly, high quality, premium quality games. And if you could touch that and click within a second, and the experience that you have in using your virtual controller into truly an immersive, fast-paced, hyper-real game, it really changes what you think is capable on the internet. So that's really what I'm excited about. And, as we were saying, there's 5.1 billion people online, and I feel that everybody should have access to high-quality games and play with people all around the world. And I believe that's the future.
I agree with you on several points. One, I am definitely a console person myself. I also have played Nintendo all the way up to the point I'm a hardcore PlayStation guy myself. I've had every PlayStation uh, hardware device ever created. And just going to your point on making streaming just accessible and having the high definition games available to these people. There's a couple of years ago, someone threw out the stat of like most people are never going to own a personal computer, but everyone's going to have a phone. And at that point, that's going to be a lot of people's personal computer. And then when you think about games in the same fashion, where a lot of people, if they're not going to go buy a computer, they're probably not going to go buy a hardware device, but they're going to have their phone. And if you can start getting the same type of quality from AAA games, from Unreal Engine 5 and everything else on your phone, you're immediately tapping into that 5.1 that you just talked about. And I think you aiming and focusing in that area is very smart. And the technology is catching up. It's starting to catch up. Like a lot of this was very forward thinking, but now with everything, when AI and everything else catching up, it's all succinctly coming together. And so, that's why I kind of want to fast forward 5 years. What kind of mind-blowing metaverse experience do you kind of envision for gamers to be able to experience, and how is Wonder positioning itself to make that reality?
Well, one of the things is, as you said, that, your mobile phone is almost like your remote control. So, aside from just, mobile gaming, I mean, you could walk in front of a smart TV, click and start to play. You could be down in Times Square and all of a sudden you're connecting to a huge billboard and you have multiple people playing at the same time, trying to get a royalty from a brand. We also say that, Wonder is like the Twitch and TikTok of gaming. And the reason why we say that is, it's pretty easy to create a video and put it on TikTok. And we're working, and, we're in R&D right now to really create tools that people will be able to speak these metaverses and games into existence within minutes. And I think that is where we're really going to be going. We created the streaming technology. One, I'm a creator. We're creating our Wonderverse. We have the Coliseum, we have Supercharged, but I feel that everybody, and I've said this at your conference, everybody's a Picasso, everybody's a Steven Spielberg, just waiting to get their creativity out. And if you're truly able to give these type of tool sets to the everyday person, I mean, the interconnected worlds that are going to happen, and your everyday person truly, putting things that are in their mind for others to experience. I think this is where things are really going to change. And it's mind-blowing. I mean, I'm just seeing where we're at right now, and playing with some of these tools and seeing where we will be in the next 5 years. It's really an exciting time. And, again, blockchain and Web3 was something. I'm a Web2 guy. And it really took me a while to get sold on it, and kind of figuring out how it powers us and the platform and everybody else. That to me is interesting. So yeah, the future looks amazing, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to be in this space. I mean, little did I know I'd be in an arena where it is the biggest arena in the world. I mean, there's so much room for everyone, and a lot of creators, and that's what I feel. People always say, "Hey, who's your competition?" I'm like, dude, it's not about competition. It's about everybody in this space really pushing their product forward and trying for all of us to interlink. And that's
Yeah. I mean,
later on, you know what I mean?
like, come on, like Mario Brothers versus Tetris versus Zelda. They're not competition. They're
Right.
different. They're different games. They're different experiences, right? Like, I mean, there's just so much more to the possibilities. It's like when I think it was like Ragu and Hunts were competing, and Hunts realized that the key to that was, 50 different sauces instead of like one sauce, regular meat or no meat, right? Like the reality is that consumers have very diverse tastes, and there's unlimited IP potential. So I'm with you right there, man. Let's talk a little bit about Wander's recent progress in terms of user acquisition, the platform development. I know you guys have really been making investments in this area. Obviously, a lot of agility, obviously a lot of agility and dedication required given the dynamic nature of Web3. How's that been going for you?
It's been going well. I think that, what I foresaw a few years ago, we're still on track. And that to me is pretty amazing, right? I think one is, creating, I think the streaming solution was probably the hardest thing that we've done. Being able to get these games out high quality and, low latency, and making sure they work across every freaking device there is, and virtual controller, gamepad. I mean, that to me, I think was the tough part. Honestly, I think making games is probably the easiest thing. It kind of flows. It's creation, it's storytelling. So I'm glad that we got that part out of the way. The Web3 side, I think that, when the bear market happened is really when I was really able to dig in and really see what the problems were, why games weren't scaling. And, again, I'm a Web2 guy, and I did not want to do 10 steps to set up a wallet, and security and just a lot of these things. So I said we have to create and design a way for people to get their own wallet within a second. You put your email in, you log on, you have access, and all of a sudden you have a wallet. You could use, your credit card or debit card. You could buy and trade. I think that's the first thing. And a lot of the Web3 talk and Web3 infrastructure, just like when the internet first, started coming out, you don't need to talk about that, right? It's an experience. You're all of a sudden you're able to buy and trade collectibles, and these collectibles could go up in value, from one day to the next. And I think it's this type of discovery with new Web2 users and making this simple. So once they get onboarded, they're able to learn pretty quickly on how this works. And I think that's an important thing, making that experience easy for, a grandma. And you could get on, you could play, you could buy a collectible, and next thing you know, it could go up in value. You could resell it. And even for creators, right? Even creating products and putting it on our platform. I mean, there are so many traditional artists, digital artists, and now with the ability to create digital art and put that onto the platform where people could use that in game, have that utility, I think it's going to open a huge market moving forward.
Hey, I agree with that. And you've said a lot of things in that last segment that I want to go back and kind of unpack a little bit. And one of them being the ability to pivot and to create creativity to blossom. And earlier in the show, you said that you believe everyone is a Picasso and has ability to be creative, but doesn't necessarily have the tools to show that creativeness and to be part of uh, an experience that allows them to flow and have all of that come to the forefront. And the way that Wonder is going about with creating its gaming is allowing a larger audience to be able to do that, and mostly being able to do that from a phone through streaming, and through having high quality console level type games through their phone. So I want to spend just a little bit more time on that, just driving that home a little bit more, because there's a lot of people in our audience who aren't necessarily your everyday gamer, but they definitely play a game here or there once or twice on their phone, and maybe are hearing this like, oh, it'd be great to be able to play a super high quality console level game on my phone. So if you had to explain Wonder's like streaming engine to someone who is hearing this for the first time or is a hardcore gamer and wants to be able to play some of the different titles that you have, like how do you explain that to them?
Sure. Here's a link, and just click this link on your PC, connect your gamepad or your virtual phone, and you have a high-end experience. I mean, that really is all that it is, and I think that's the first step of just accessible, premium game. I think that, where we are with the gaming, I mean, gaming has changed in the way that you create games. So creating different experiences, like you could actually create them a lot faster than you could years ago with a smaller team. And that is really what I'm excited about. One of my biggest studies is my son, Mason. He's 15. He's a gamer. He plays every freaking racing game, Spider-Man. And, at the end, I'm just going to revert back to creators and where development in gaming is right now. It's like, the days of creating games for a year or 2 years are over. I mean, the amount of money that was being spent and just wasted away I think, has definitely is what changed the gaming industry as we've seen it. So now you have the capability of taking a small team of 4 or 5 people, create for a month or two and get product out. And I think that is an amazing way. It's just like a TV series. That's how I learned. You create your pilot and then you do episode 1, episode 2, and you keep on building upon that, right? And in that way, I think there's a lot of room for new creators to come in and build. But I think that it's pretty simple, man. Like it's for an everyday consumer. The thing is, you just show them a visual and you share them a link. Once they open it up on their PC, it really is magical because they're not expecting to see what you're seeing, right? So with that is just access to premium games, and that's what I really, push with Wonder. That was always the original plan. And I think that, the future for us with our games, the Coliseum, Supercharged, we have another 3 games that are in development. But the key is that, I look at certain game mechanics and game loops that are familiar to a casual game, right? Like the Coliseum, it's like Pac-Man meets Endless Runner, right? It's turn and tap, right? Jump. And using these type of simple type of controls that are familiar to people with high-end graphics makes the onboarding, I believe, a bit easier. So, when we were in Brussels, we had the opportunity for the first time to allow users to test our game. And I have to tell you, I'm going to have some videos coming up soon on this. People were just having such an amazing time. They couldn't believe how things were looking. It was like, this is AAA gaming. This is like the best quality that I've seen. And, having that said, I was like, wow, I think we've really done our job. So seeing that for the first time, because we've been in stealth for so long, my VP, Jeff St. Louis, which you guys know, took me out of the lab and says, Borris, stop freaking building. We have enough. Let's get the product out. And I'm glad I listened to him, and I'm glad I did because, just seeing that type of experience in the hands of the everyday person, they're jumping for joy for real. And it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's so gratifying, and congrats. I mean, you build something and if you build it, they will come is the hope, similar to Outer Edge Riyadh, right? We put a lot of time and energy into that. And then to see people there having an amazing time, building bridges, making new friends, there's nothing that beats seeing your product come to life. So congrats on what you achieved there. And wanted to talk a little bit more about the art side. You talked about sort of artists in the space, and creator first is definitely part of the Web3 philosophy. Not everyone sort of adheres to that or sort of remembers how important the creators are to the world, but we certainly do. And a unique part of the economy of Wonder is these 3D collectibles. I'm curious, how do you see that evolving, and what opportunity does that create for gamers and creators?
Of course. Well, again, like I said, I'm a creator myself. I was an artist. I did murals back in the day. I was a set designer. I built props, so I think like a creator, and I tried to open up the doors for people who like to create, and being able to find these tools for the first time and being able to translate these ideas into 3D, I think is something that was pretty mind-blowing for me. And, there are designers. I really love fashion. There are a lot of major fashion brands that are getting into Web3, getting into these immersive, type of experiences. And there are up and comers also that are fascinating. And this is a way for them, to use these tool sets to create their fashion line for avatars, right? Give these avatars certain powers. I mean, if you just look at ArtStation and a few other platforms, man, you will be amazed by what's out there. But if you're able to give them a platform where these, items could be used in multiple games where people could buy and sell this is truly going to create another type of economy in the virtual world. But at the same time, I also see a possible way of driving, sales or revenues, as you would say, to the real world, right? So say that you have a fashion designer and they're creating a line for your avatars. They also have a fashion line in real life. And if you're able to collect and pick up 3D, say 20 NFTs or collect a certain amount of coins, you could get 30-40% off of their fashion line and order it, right online. And I think that there is really a fusion that I feel is necessary, right? Going from virtual to real. So I think that now people that are traditional designers or artists who actually have work in the real world and can create in the virtual world have an opportunity to play with both. And that to me is pretty exciting. And coming from television, I always thought about hey, how can legacy brands get involved? How can I get a Nike or an Adidas and have them drop their NFTs, right? And allow player to collect. And again, it's not just about the player, but the whole community aspect is allowing spectators to interact. So if I have a group of 100 people, while I'm going around collecting Nike or Adidas sneakers, and I actually win, and they could click on a button and blow my enemy up or supercharge me to the finish line. If I win, I'm not the only one who shares in the royalty. The whole community backing me does. And I think a community-based royalty and interaction where spectators get involved, it allows a lot more of a robust platform where you have users, you have gamers, you have spectators, you have brands in one ecosystem, and everybody is like helping one another out. And that to me, I think is a beautiful thing.
I agree. Creating that ecosystem that's all encompassing and connects people, allows people to be creative, allows people to have fun, and allows people to potentially have monetary opportunities is something that I think gamers are really being gravitated towards. And I know in a lot of ways, Wonder is putting some things together to help that circular economy exist. And so I want to I want to quickly spend some time on talking about that, especially around you talk about the community royalties and to do stuff like that and to onboard people that are either already in Web3 or coming into Web3, having versatile payment options helps and can be a big draw for new users. So how is Wonder incorporating both traditional and futuristic payments, and how has the Wonder Wallet been received so far by the community?
Yeah, good question. So right now we've, this month is really when we started hitting our marketing. I think, just with what we've done, we started, with probably 500 followers on, all our platforms. And after 3 weeks, I mean, we have a solid like 11, 12K that are come on right now. We have about 600 wallets. And we haven't done our main push. We waited to do everything that we're doing this week out in Brussels. And, we're in Paris doing a few things. And now we're really going to be pushing that initiative to get wallets, downloaded by users. But, one of the great things that we have moving forward this month is some, great partnerships. One that we're working with Miracle Play out of Korea. They're an esports platform. They got close to 75,000 users. And another one with 140,000 users. So we're kind of doing these partnerships to get the games and the platforms in the hands of everyone, right? So I think with these pushes that we're doing in these coming weeks, I think we'll start seeing the wallet go in the thousands, and the experiences and people being able to buy and trade certain collectibles that we're going to be releasing in the beginning. This is going to really be our test here, for this month and next month. And I'm really excited about that. But, I think that's really, the key drive for these next few weeks, and to get those wallets out and to get people to actually get on the platform and compete and basically create, an esports competition with the Coliseum at first.
Let's go. That's awesome. So speaking of sort of creating the pipes, right? That's been a sort of theme for this show. Let's talk about your SDK. When we think about interoperability, giving folks, the game studios, the brands, the creators a chance to publish games and experiences is pretty cool. And my understanding is that you guys are doing this with like a web link. Is that correct? And how is that going so far as well? What are the sort of ambitions there?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, it's just a simple web link, right? Again, just to backtrack to show you this moment here was, when we did create Wall Street Massacre Murder Madoff, it was a game done in Flash. I had never done a game before. And we had another media property called crimetv.com. I wanted to turn into the Netflix of crime entertainment, but it's expensive. TV and film is, it's a lot. And, with a very small budget, we were able to create a game in a month. And I basically kind of tapped into what was in pop culture at the moment. And it was Bernie Madoff. And I just wanted everyday person to get their revenge. And it worked. We got close to 23 million gameplays in over 3 months. And I was shocked by how users access the game on a PC. And that always stuck with me that year. Everything started going to mobile phones. That's when iOS really came out with their gaming platform. So that streaming tech, seeing that happen way back then, I said, this is the future, and I need to figure out how we're going to do this. And it's not till years later I was in LA and I started working in Unreal Engine. And I said, this is what needs to get into the hands of people. So that is what clicked. And just, it was like lightning, man. And I said, this is it. This is what I got to focus on. And out of nowhere, this is where Wonder is right now. So streaming tech with one simple web link, people are, and this is what I like about it, right? I think a lot of the Web3, infrastructure that we have is really seamless. So, the SDK, where we're finishing up some things, I think in the next month, we're going to release the first version. And it excites me because I think it's like, there are a lot of games out there, right, that you could build upon their games, which I think is fine. But, I'm a firm believer, like myself, I like IP. And I know a lot of people love their IP. And I think that's the key. That's the value. So I want to give, creators the ability, game developers or brands, to create their own IPs, right? I feel that people could just stop looking at games more as a marketing tool, but as a revenue stream, and being able to basically have our SDK. You can use Unreal Engine, you could use Unity or any gaming engine out there. You could plug right in and you could seamlessly just stream to the world within seconds, right? And it makes discovery a lot easier, I believe. And, with that, I think, people working on gaming engines, that gives them an opportunity, right? And being able to have a wallet that comes up, hey, you could use the Wonder Wallet, but if you feel like you're a hardcore Web3 guy, you want to go into, hardware wallet, that's fine too. You could transfer it over. I did this specifically for the everyday person so they don't have to think about that. And if they want to transition to their own wallet at some point, they can. And just making these things very simple, I think, is key for a user and also for game developers to have these tool sets. And we are multi-chain. I mean, we have a backend that connects us to just about every blockchain there is. And this is something that we actually figured out in the past month. So in the next 2.5 weeks, I mean, we're going to be on multiple blockchains. And I think that is a very important factor. There are a lot of blockchains. I think a lot of them are doing amazing. And, why stick with just one, but be with multiple. And there are creators developing everywhere. We just want to touch as many people and give these type of people the opportunity to get their products out to the world.
Right. Yeah, that's incredible. And I think having that flexibility to be able to be multi-chain, cross-chain, and meet users where they are, especially whether in Web3 or not. Because at the end of the day, most people not in Web3 care less about what's underneath, right? Like when we play games on iPhone, we don't say, was this built on Swift or blah, 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 blah. We want to play a good game. And so I feel like that's going to continue to translate as we keep building in this space. But having been in this space and seeing everything that is going on, I have a final question for you before we kind of learn a little bit more about you and our quick hitters. When you look out across the landscape, what are some other projects or some other games that you've observed that are doing something pretty special in the space that you think people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've met quite a few game studios out in Brussels. There's some that are doing some amazing racing games. I like how, and honestly, I can't remember every name because I met quite a few, but shout out because whoever listens to this, I talk to everybody and I interview everybody too. So, and that's the thing, right? I feel that there are so many incredible people doing incredible things. And I think that we all speak the same language. So even when I was at, Outer Edge, I found it amazing. I mean, you guys had Robbie Young from Anna Monica Brands. I had an interview with him. We haven't released it yet, and being able to speak with him and his thoughts. And, there was Motorverse that was there. I think Motorverse is doing something pretty amazing with, what they got going on. There are quite a few people doing some good things. I'll promise you, I can't think of, names right now, but I just love the fact that people are pushing great product. Because a few years ago, what I saw was coming out in the market, people were promising things that I had a feeling were not possible. But there's some real builders in the space now. They're really thinking about quality games. They're really thinking about community. They want to have multiplayer. And to me, I think that's exciting. You know, we're all in the same game, talking the same thing. Some of us have different routes, but very similar. And there's that silver lining of just getting beautiful games to everyone. So again, I'm sorry I can't think of all the names, but
All
there's some
good.
good ones.
All good. Shout out to all the folks building beautiful games. And
Yes.
that's a great sort of segue to get to know you better on our next segment, Edge Quick Hitters.
And now for a quick word from our sponsor before we dive into the next segment. Are you ready to take your sports predictions to the next level? Look no further than maincard.io, the fantasy management platform that's taking the blockchain world by storm. With Maincard, every card is a ticket to excitement. You can predict sport outcomes, trade cards in the marketplace, and challenge opponents in thrilling weekly duels. And don't wait. Head to maincard.io now and start earning rewards with your NFTs because it pays to be early. And now back to today's episode.
All right, Boris. Edge Quick Hitters are a fun and quick way to get to know you a little bit better. There are 10 questions. We're looking for just a short, single, or few word response, but feel free to expand if you get the urge. You up for it?
Let's do it.
All right. What is the first thing you remember ever purchasing in your life?
A Gemini mixer, 2 Technique turntables, Houdini's Friends record, Africa Bambaataa, and Michael Jackson's Thriller. That was the first purchase that I ever made, and I love music, and I wanted to be a DJ. I must have been, and I'm going to give my age away, probably like 10, 11 years old at the time. And I found music fascinating, and just being able to manipulate music with the mixer. And yeah, I DJed some of my own parties while my family was away. Definitely did get into some trouble, but then we packed the house. So it allowed me to be an entrepreneur and learn how an entrepreneur should think. So yeah, those were the
Nice.
first purchases.
You were a bundle shopper before Amazon was around. I do all sorts of random bundles now on Amazon where I'm like, oh, I need this under the bed organizer and some creatine. So
Yeah.
your approach is a little bit more cohesive than mine. What is the first thing you ever remember selling in your life?
Fireworks. I ordered fireworks here, and I was able to order some really awesome firecrackers, M80s, bottle rockets, and I bought them and sold them to friends at school, which I shouldn't have done. But
Oh, no.
I made some money, and I love that. I love that. I was like, wow, nobody has access to it. I found a place somewhere in upstate Florida that nobody knew about. I was going through magazines, and I did my thing. It worked out.
All right. Hopefully, no one's fingers got blown off because of
No,
your
maybe
early.
not.
No,
You
I'm
know,
sure.
I'll say one quick thing there. I was just in Canada for Canada Day, and they are not nearly as into the like individual fireworks and celebrating. I mean, there were some fireworks for Canada Day on the 1st, but it's no 4th of July like Boston where I'm from. So definitely a U.S. specific sort of thing. I'm sure there's other countries where fireworks are super popular too, but not in Canada.
Yeah. Well, you have those bottle rockets that are the whistlers, and if you break the sticks off and you just light them up, you don't know where they're gonna go, but they're amazing. So, those type of things were fun. But in any case, let me stop there. I
No, all
don't want
good.
to
Yeah,
give too many
entrepreneurial
ideas.
spirit for a very long time, and fireworks are a fun one. I don't think we've heard that on the show before, so that's a unique one.
Okay.
What is the most recent thing that you have purchased?
When I came back down from New York, I was there for about 15 years, and I always loved cars and muscle cars. And when I came here in 2022, I purchased a Mustang 5.0, and it's boosted, it's track ready, it's loud as hell, and I love it. And that is the last thing that I really purchased, aside from clothes, but that's what I rock right now. My son loves it, and we're always riding. I'm always in my car talking business, and it feels good. This type of car, you feel its energy, you feel its movement. It's loud, it's fast, a little bit like me. Kind of matches, who my character and my son's character. So yeah, that was the last purchase, and yeah, I'm loving it, man. It's a great car to have here in Miami, and we're always driving, seeing beautiful cars. It starts conversations in the road. We have guys on Lambos pulling up next to us, everything, and yeah. It's been a lot of fun. So that's my last purchase, and I'm happy with that. Every other car that I've had has been, regular, Beamer or nice little Mercedes, something clean, but yeah, I went loud, and
Yeah. And
I
I
love
mean,
it.
it's awesome when you work really hard and you have something that you've been looking forward to and you get something like that. I too am a car person and love cars, and that Mustang, like you said, it yells. It doesn't just purr, it yells, man. And
It does.
it grabs attention, and it's a very great car from Miami as well. So can understand
Yeah.
why you
And
love it.
we're doing Supercharged, our racing game too, so I'm a car guy, and that actually inspired me to actually create the game, actually, right? Modding up the game, modding up the car, the suspension, the tires, the wheels. That's what we do in the game. And once I saw that, I said, wow, I understand now. I jump into things when I figure that out. And once I understood like the power of creating your own, vehicle, right? And that, to me, I was like, okay, I get why people love racing games, and we started designing our own cars, and that's all she wrote. So one
Yeah.
to another in this world.
No, for sure. Just that one final antidote. I used to love the game, all the Midnight Club dub editions and all the other like Need for Speeds and everything else. Like you said, customizing cars. And when I finally got to a point where I could do that for my own car, I did it. So like I completely agree with what you just said. But on the flip side, what is one of the most recent things that you have sold?
Ah, recent things that I have sold. Well, I don't think I've really sold anything lately, I guess. Uh, not really anything. I've been pretty good. Most of my selling was a few years ago, some crypto that I've been holding. But yeah, I've been nothing to really talk about right now. No.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
There you go. All right. So next question. What is your most prized possession?
My son, Mason, I don't want to say he's my possession, but definitely he is, what drives me, helps me with my vision. He is my right hand, son and best friend. I think that is, why I do everything at Wonder. He keeps me young. He keeps me balanced. And yeah, I'm proud of that, man. Like that little dude right there is like a big guy right now for 14. And yeah, we just rock it. And, he helps keep me in a steady line, and I take him around the world with what we do. And we're having the most amazing time. And I would say, yeah, that's one of my most proudest things. Yeah, the proudest thing that I have right now in my life, I would say, aside from my business and God, of course, that's what I look at, man.
That's awesome, man. It's great that you and your son have that opportunity. It's like LeBron's son playing on the Lakers, right? Like
There you go.
there's not a better opportunity than to sort of have that sort of experience, show that sort of passion for something that you've been passionate about, your whole life. So congrats on being able to align the stars in that way. No, I guess it happens, right? He could have had other interests, but in this case, it worked out.
I mean, at the end, really quick, he might have other interests, but for now, we're rocking it, right? And that's the thing. Like, you love making games, or you love storytelling, or you just like talking about it, you know how to sell. Things like that, I think, are very important. But any direction, any pivot, I'll be open to. And that's really what it's all about, right? It's just about the passion, making sure that you're able to get their passion and let them do what they can. And that's the key.
And put it on the table.
That's
So
right.
if you could buy anything in the world, digital, physical, service, or experience that's currently for sale, what would it be?
Probably a telecom company. Yeah, a telecom company, having access to, millions of homes and, cable channels. I think that there is such a next level that could happen in telecom and with the technology, with AI, with metaverses, and really being able to connect that correctly, at least the way that I envision it. Definitely a telecom company. That's what I would be looking at next.
Yeah.
All right, that's another first on Edge of NFT. No one has wanted to buy a telecom company, but when you frame it that way, I see how that could be a lot of fun and provide a whole lot of potential.
Yes, yes. Does. I mean, you have TV networks, you have access to movies, pop stars, it's a lot of influence. And I think that there's a lot of good that could be done with that. And there are a lot of people, in this world that don't have access to information or premium content and be able to figure these things out too for them. I think that's important, right? So I think along those lines, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Lots of power in that. So, if you could pass on one of your personality traits to the next generation, what would it be?
Never quit. That's for sure. I think a lot of people, as you're building and as you're an entrepreneur, sometimes things look somewhat dark, right? And it is that process that we have to trust. And my son, although I know where we're going, he's always telling me, Dad, remember, trust the process. You're always telling me to trust the process. And it's true, because at the end, sometimes we don't see the end and how things work. But if you really are clear, you have your radar on and you're able to connect those dots, that patience is key. Because as you're painting, man, those lines are going to connect. You're going to have that depth. It's going to go really deep, and it's going to happen. And I've just seen things, out of nowhere just happen magically. And I think that, from these experiences and other things that I've done in my life, I've seen the results. And at times we forget these things and we forget how these great things that have happened to us have connected, because a lot of the times we're, in the situation and not of the situation. And we need to take a step back, but always push forward, because when you connect those freaking dots, dude, they're going to connect. The right people are going to come to you and you'll know it. Just feel your gut. I mean, that's my thing. You'll know it. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and I'm sure you're imparting that to your son, and sounds like he's already reflecting it back to you, which is powerful. Now, if you could eliminate one of your personality traits from the next generation, what would that be?
As patient as I want to be, my impatience. I think that's, I think that's key. But I think when you put yourself in situations in life, right, I think taking away that level of need, I think, is really important, because when you need things, you start making the wrong decisions, right? And I think that, just going towards a goal, right, or an outcome, and just knowing that it's going to happen, I think is really the key. It kind of shifts your perspective on it, how you encounter it, how you interact with that thing. And a bit of detachment is always good, just to allow things to work out. You need to start nailing something in, but then you got to step back and let it do its thing. You put the seed in, you water it. You can't be putting vitamins in it every day. You'll kill it. Just hold back and just let it do its thing. And then when it needs to be, watered again, then you start singing, you water it again. And I think that's really a key. And, just being patient, because if you believe in something and you really connect the dots and you're clear-minded, you're going to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Patience is key. I think we all can get a little impatient from time to time, depending on what life throws at us. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. So definitely appreciate that.
Though, although we do have patience, but when things move, they move very fast, right? And when something is supposed to happen. So just wait for those moments, because as fast as you want things to happen, at that moment, you'll be surprised by how quick something could happen. So, that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Appreciate that. So, what did you do just before joining us on the podcast?
Um, running around today, just getting myself organized for the week. We've been away and just going with my son, doing our dailies, talking on the phone with my VP, making sure that, our game is in order, dropping laundry off, just doing, just the daily stuff. That was my thing today. That's the truth. And
Back,
I enjoy those moments, right?
yeah, back to home base, get situated. And what are you gonna do after the podcast? A little bit more of the same, or something else a little more spicy?
Yeah, well, after this, I think I'm probably going to go do a workout at the park. It's 4 days overdue. And then just come back here and just start prepping for my meetings with my team for tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just prepping for these next steps. And I'm just so excited about what I'm doing that, whatever it is that I'm doing, man, if I got to clean the floor, if I'm doing this, I know what I have in mind and what we're doing. And it just makes everything special right now, dude. Like, for real, I could be sitting in the worst place and I'm feeling good because I know what we're doing. So, yeah, just doing what we got to do to get us to the next level. And that's exciting.
It is exciting. You're getting to work on what you're passionate about, and you're getting to trust your own process and be present. So super powerful. We always like to wrap up with a fun question, fun bonus question. And you are particularly fond of two things I'm particularly fond about, which are games and cars. So I want to ask you, what is your favorite game of all time, and what is your favorite car of all time?
Whew. Favorite game of all time. Well, one I do like is Spider-Man. I just like the way he moves, and just flips. Those physics are just really amazing. And, I think we all want to be a superhero at some point, and I have dreams of me flying around and moving like that. That definitely is one. And your other question, that there was a two-part question.
Your car, favorite car.
Favorite car. Wow. So I have to say I do love what I have right now. She's special, but I think a Lambo, or there are a few cars that I really like, man. But if I were to touch one, I would probably say a Ferrari Super Sport. It's classic. It's long. It's beautiful. Yeah, that one I do like a lot. There's a lot of loud ones out there, but that one is fire. It's
Yeah.
long, huge tires, great control. I think I might rock that one. Things go well next year. And for my team, dude, they
All right.
deserve it too.
There's a goal there. Well, this has been a ton of fun. So grateful to have you on the show. Your passion for what you're doing emanates through your veins, and hopefully our listeners that are hearing this show feel your passion. Obviously, for our video watchers on YouTube and Myco, definitely comes out as well. All right. Well, we have a nice, fun segment before we wrap here, Boris. It's called Shout Out, where we give you a chance to give someone in your ecosystem that isn't on the show today, but's doing a lot to make things happen, some love. So who comes to mind?
So Josh Poe, first, he is an investor and partner I've been working with for 15 years, and now he's a VC, and he's put up to $1 million in our project. This guy is a ride or die, dude, and I tell you, without him, like, I don't think I'd be where I am today. 15 years is a long time to work with somebody, so much love there, Josh. Love you, man. Jeff St. Louis, met him 2 years ago. An amazing addition to the team. Not only is he an amazing CTO, and he's an engineer by trade, technically, bro, this guy is just off the chain. He connects dots like no others. And thank you for being on board. And my boy Mason, I love you very much, my son. You already know what's up. And yeah, these are my peeps, my mom, my sisters. You all know.
That's
Much love.
great. And yeah, I'll do you a solid here. I didn't know there was a Josh in Web3 that's not in Josh DAO. So I'm the co-founder of Josh DAO. So we're gonna get Josh into the DAO. I'm gonna work out the details with you. offline. But Josh, if you're listening, man, you're gonna want to be in Josh DAO. Every Josh in Web3 is in Josh DAO.
I love that. I think you will too.
All right, great.
A quick word from our sponsors who's ready to navigate the cutting edge of tomorrow's legal landscape. Because at Zuber Lawler, they're not just attorneys, they're visionaries. With expertise in emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and the metaverse, they're paving the way for you to seize the future. For mergers and acquisitions to IP, their selective team delivers strategic solutions tailored to the ever-changing world of technology. Join us at Zuber Lawler, where the future meets the law at zuberlawler.com. Back to the episode.
Where can listeners go to learn more about you and what you're working on at Wander?
Sure. You could go to Wonder, WNDR.com on our site. You could go to Twitter, Wonder, WNDR Super App, or Telegram, WNDR Super App also. And you can see, the different contests that we have going on, the next steps that we're doing, early access to the platform. We're doing tons of AMAs. We did an AMA the other day, and it was amazing. We had close to like 50,000 people listen in. I think it was nuts, and I don't know how that happened, but yeah, you can find us there, and yeah, you can pick through our information and definitely see what we're doing, because we could really get in depth with a lot of the gaming, a lot of the streaming, the platform, and what we got going on.
Cool. Well, folks should definitely sort of stay in touch and watch what you're up to. If they're passionate about the future of gaming, definitely taking a look at what you're doing at Wander makes a lot of sense. For now, we have reached the outer limit at the edge of NFT for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We've got space for more adventures on the Starship, so invite your friends, recruit some cool strangers. They'll make this journey all so much better. How? If you're listening, go to Spotify or iTunes right now, rate us and say something awesome. If you're watching on YouTube, join over 130,000 other followers by hitting the subscribe button, passing this episode on to a friend or two. You can also now catch us on myco.io. That's myco.io, where you can watch and earn for your time and attention. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 content. Thanks again for sharing this time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
The views and opinions expressed on Edge of NFT reflect solely those views and opinions of the show hosts and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information available on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of those links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.